Keir Starmer, the Labour government, had their convention yesterday, and he said a number of wild things, but this is the one that's really been making the rounds here.
And conference. If you say or imply that people cannot be English or British because of the colour of their skin, that mixed heritage families owe you an explanation, that people who've lived here for generations, raised their children here, built their lives here, working in our schools, our hospitals, running businesses, are our neighbours. If you say they should now be deported, then mark my words, we will fight you with everything we have, because you are the enemy of national renewal.
So this is kind of an amazing thing, right? On several levels. Let's not forget that just a few months ago, in the wake of the riots in England, there was Keir Starmer came out and gave his Island of Strangers speech, which a lot of people were like, wow, I can't believe that he's saying this. He was saying that, hey, we need to have a national identity. We have to be unified. We can't just let a bunch of foreigners in here and forget who we are as a people. He did this very conciliatory speech, it seemed, to the right, to try to pull things together, maybe make a bridge back to some of the voters that Labour had lost in the working class, this kind of thing. And this shows you how deep the woke foreign interests are in the UK, because he recognized that that was good politics at the time, right? Like I've made the argument that most leaders are in some way true believers. Keir Starmer is obviously just a complete mercenary lunatic psychopath, and like he will just say anything. Like the man is an absolute like I would not trust him with my children for 4 seconds, right? Like just not at all. And so the idea that he is now coming out and declaring the British people like, you're the enemy. You're not you, not the foreigners stabbing our children, raping our daughters, none of that. You, and he specifically says that if you say that a foreigner can't be English. Now, some people will argue over British, right? They'll say, well, British is this like supranational identity that spread out into the empire. I know a lot of English people who have a problem with that. They say, no, British is just Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and England. But some people are like, well, no, because they conquered all these other Commonwealth nations, and that's the true meaning of British. Some people are okay with that, some aren't. English is the actual ethnos. It's specific. It's specific right to the island of England. So saying that you cannot exclude someone from Pakistan from the identity of England, or you are my enemy, I mean, this is just absolutely insane rhetoric. He's declaring war on his own people of his country on behalf of foreigners, like pretty explicitly here.
Well, if he uses, whenever the British or the English left uses the term British to try to get around this, that specifically calls for royal action, because that's the it's not going to happen, sadly, because we have not we, but the crown has become so impotent. But that's, this is a place where, if this is a British issue, the crown should absolutely step in and enforce that which is good for his people and his subjects. It's not going to happen. But let's be clear. Keir Starmer is using, this is revolutionary language. And all you have to go is national renewal. What does he mean by that? Well, he means erasing English British heritage. That's all he's saying, so that he can create a government that supports empowering his coterie of folks. So that this is just revolutionary, and people on the right or traditional conservatives or whatever, we all can gather around and we are anti-revolutionary, and it's disgusting. And he speaks of generations. No one, I don't hear calls for action against the Jamaicans that came over in the 50s and 60s. I think it was a total of about 500,000 people who have fully integrated over generations and are truly English. I'm going to send your cards and letters to.
I would say they aren't they aren't truly English. You could
Right.
give them you could give them a wider title of British, but by
British.
definition they can't be English.
No, you're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is there has been an assimilation that has happened there, and that is not. There is no assimilation whatsoever with these last few waves of boat people that have come over. And so anyway, it's a and I've made the comment before. If you're going to have any immigration, it has to be a spice. It can't overpower the entree, and that's what you're seeing is a spice that overpowers the English entree.
Well, and I really want to focus here again on the level of just betrayal, because again, this is a scenario where Keir Starmer recognized good politics at first when he saw it, right? After the riots, he recognized, okay, we've gone too far. There's too much pressure on the system. We've let too many migrants in, the two-tier policing, everything else. It's too much, and we have to find a way back to work with the native population, work with the working class, bring some of those people back in the coalition, or we're going to lose support. Labor is going to lose control of the whole thing. And from what we're seeing all over the place, it looks like that's the case. Nigel Farage is well ahead in the polls pretty much everywhere you look. Now, I honestly don't trust Nigel Farage as far as I could throw him, but he has to be an improvement over Keir Starmer. Literally, anything would be. But just the fact that foreign powers and foreign interests in his country are so overwhelming that ultimately he would side with them before he would side with the native population, even when he knows that's good politics. That really tells you something. And I've had ultimately I've people have asked me, well, why do you have this mass immigration? What is it there for? And my answer has been over and over again. It's the classic high and low versus middle strategy in political power, right? You get rid of the native population, you get rid of the middle class, you get rid of the people who have a tie to the land and different institutions and traditions that block the power of government, and you bring in a bunch of people who are just going to do what the government tells them, or they're going to vote for the people who brought them in and are giving them benefits no matter what. And this secures you permanent political power. And
you got to kill the kulaks.
Yeah, 100%. And because of that, we have this dynamic where Keir Starmer will literally just completely betray his own people, even when he knows that is the right move, even politically. And this is where I get angry with people who are like, well, democracy solves these problems. Popular sovereignty solves these problems. Look at these guys. Look, the British voted against immigration under Boris Johnson. They got way more immigration. They voted for less immigration under Rishi Sunak. They got more. They got record numbers of immigration. They vote for less immigration, and they get Keir Starmer, who has to basically threaten to jail them to stop them from asking for less immigration. And then he declares them the enemy. These are all democratically elected leaders. Every single one of them is a democratically elected leader. And all of them are directly against the population to the point where they have now declared the population that theoretically elects them the enemy. Don't tell me about liberal democracy. Liberal democracy has failed. It has certainly failed in England, and I think it's failed most other places it's practiced.
Well, not to mix metaphors, but it's like Stockholm syndrome. And I think that there's a sense in which it seems like the people of the UK love their captors now because they've been subject to their rule for so long. It's very sad. I don't know how it gets fixed. I mean, Farage is probably an improvement, but I'm with you. He's been all over the board over the last 18 months. So I don't, I look forward to listening to him at NatCon to try to figure out where he was coming, and then he didn't show up, or for whatever reason. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but it needs to be something other than a coiffed revolutionary.
Yeah, it's a bad place for Britain to be in, and I really hope that the English are able to turn this around, because I've now been there several times, have many friends there. It's a beautiful country with fantastic people, and you hate to see it in that. I've made the joke more than once. This is my one neocon position. I will arm the moderate British.
Amen. I've gotten to be really close with Faraz Modad, who's one of the Lotus Eater guys, and we appear on a different podcast occasionally together, and with our friend Pete, and he's so great, and so he's even said, look, I'm not heritage English. I'll go home if that's what it takes to reclaim England, for England to be English again. And I just feel for those people, because I'm English by heritage. My folks came over, my ancestors came over from a boat that left Southampton in 1851. I am 80% English. I follow Arsenal in London. I love heritage England. I even like mashy peas to, and
well, that's a little far, but yeah.
Yeah. And but I'll take a black and tan right now. But it's very sad. And I'm with you. Let's go. Let's drop crates of ARs in the Midlands.
No, yeah, I feel the same kind of affection. My family came over in the 1790s, landed in Virginia from England. So definitely, I think that's why so many Americans feel that call, to England. It's a separate country. It's its own country. Ultimately, has to solve its own problems. But obviously, we do have those traditional ties, those heritage ties, and to some extent cultural ties back to England. They obviously it permeates our legal system and all kinds of other aspects of our culture, and so it's just very difficult to.
Yeah,
see.
people are bound by language.
Yeah.
You can all the other things, but the primary binding of civilization is religion. Our religion and language. You just can't get away from the tie of speaking a common word.